So Kory, thank you so much for joining us and being part of Do the Distance. And the Do the Distance thing was a goal from anywhere from doing a 5K to 39.3 miles. You kind of blew past that. Now I see that you're up to over 237 miles. So obviously with the pandemic and everything going on and all the events that typically you participate in person, what's the reason for keep going on this mileage trek?
I had signed up for 100K at the beginning of March. I mean, I signed up in March. The race is in September.
So this is all part of your training for the 100K.
Yeah, and I had signed up for the Georgetown to Idaho Springs race because I have a resolution to try to do a race every month in 2020. That obviously is not going so well, a lot of virtual events, but I had signed up for it, so I just switched it over to a virtual event so I could still get a bib to count it as I think my June mileage.
What was your goal for making this resolution?
I knew that I hadn't signed up for the 100K yet, but I've done some ultras before, and it's pretty isolating to do a lot of distance training and to run early and just by myself a lot. So another friend of mine signed up or made it a resolution too, and we were going to try to do most of the races together, or at least, we would run publicly with other people occasionally once a month. And so it's kind of a bad year to make a resolution to run with a group. But obviously we didn't know this was coming, so.
Yeah, no kidding. So what got you into running to begin with?
I ran a lot. I was never I started running in college to try to lose weight. Then every time I would start running and run for a couple of months, get injured, or it would become winter, I would go skiing, lose track of it, come back around, and so I never really had a regular program going. And then a couple of years ago, I was up to almost 240 pounds, and decided that I just couldn't go on like that. And so I tried to adjust form. I read some books about form and read some books about training. This is the first time I ever realized that rest was an important factor in any kind of training program, where you don't just continuously increase your mileage every single week over week over week over week. You got to give yourself some time to recover, which of course I was never on a team or had any coaching, so I didn't know that before that. And then in 2016, I ran, is when I started trying to lose some weight, and I signed up for the Bear Chase half marathon that year, which is on a looped course, and it's the same course that they run a 50K, 50 mile, and 100K on the day before the half marathon. And when I got done with the half marathon, I kind of thought, well, I could get through the 10K right now, maybe not run all of it, but get through that loop. And the 50K that they run the day before is just 2 of the half marathon loops plus the 10K loop. And that was the first time that sort of any distance of a marathon or more ever seemed even remotely approachable, like mentally approachable. And so I decided that the next year I was going to sign up for the 50K. And that was when I started reading the training books and figuring out how not to get injured. And then it's just kind of grown from there. So 2018, I ran rim to rim to rim at the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
And last year I didn't do any ultras, but and sort of started gaining a little weight back, and so resolved to cut off the regain of weight at to get back to it. So that is why I'm now running for 100K.
Well, that's awesome. That's a great story. I was thinking that kind of hit me a little bit funny that people are probably thinking is that you were running and you got injured and finally figured out that rest was an important component, but now you're doing you're doing a lot of miles and a lot of training. So if someone would go like, well, when are you resting if you're doing all these miles? So how are you what's your normal training look like?
Mostly I usually do 2 weeks on, 1 week at sort of a 70 or 60% level. This actually in July here, I've done 3 weeks in a row on 50 miles or more per week. And now this next week, I'll be down to probably 25 miles. It's been a little intense, and I'm going to take some real recovery this week.
Things that I know in our email correspondence that kind of struck me is this, the Do the Distance Challenge for the Colorado Mountain Half Series, which includes the Georgetown, Idaho Springs Half Marathon and the Estes Park Half and the Ned up in Nederland, is that this isn't the only virtual challenge that you're taking place in. What other ones are you currently doing?
I'm also currently doing a Colorado Food Bank Challenge, which is 120 miles, 20 miles a week from end of June through the beginning of August, mid-August. That one I'm at 220 something miles. I'm actually only in 12th in that one because they include road biking miles too. So I'm leading the pack for on foot with no bike, but there are some people who've done 600 bike miles. I just never catch them. And then I'm also doing the Colorado Trail Virtual Challenge, 500 mile solo effort from June 1st to September 3rd. And I've got 330 miles in that one so far.
Wow.
I just broke into the top 100 this morning, but I think 30 people have already finished it. I think the winners finished it in June, 500 miles in June alone, which is mind-blowing. And then
someone that likes to run so much and doing these challenges, stuff like that and obviously it can't replace being in person, but what are some of the things that have been good about the virtual challenges, and what are some things that haven't been so good?
The things I like about the virtual challenge is the sort of, the thing about a race is you go to the start line because it's time to start, not because you're really ready to start. So there's a lot of anxiety leading up to a race, even one that you're going to do the distance, even when you're not challenging for a victory, you're just trying to finish it. For me, there's a bit of anxiety that, at 7 a.m. you have to start running. And I'm not necessarily always ready to be out the door at that exact moment. So it's for virtual events, it's nice that you get to kind of do it on your own schedule to eliminate that anxiety of obviously not getting to run with anybody else, not getting to enjoy a beer afterward with the other runners, or even just stand around and drink coffee and listen to the awards and whatnot. I do miss that. Getting official times. It's a lot harder to run fast or be motivated if you're just starting your own watch and going until you're done.
What would be some of your advice to people to how to maybe get into something like this and how to keep motivated?
Gotta go slow. I try not to increase, they recommend you don't increase mileage by more than like 10% week over week. And then take rest weeks. And when I come back from a rest week, I try not to go over whatever mileage was the week just before the rest week, so that I kind of ramp back into it. And then it's also been since 2016 that I've been trying to, I wasn't running 50 miles week over week. I think as of yesterday afternoon, I had finished 160 miles in 3 weeks, which is the most I've ever done in that kind of period. But it's taken since 2016 to build up to that level. And so you just go slow and make sure that you rest. One of the things that I really have struggled with previously is that when you do a big effort, or you try to get, you do something that you do a long run and it's a longer run than you've ever done, or a longer time than you've ever done, that I try, like if it's during a week I'm supposed to be continuing to train, that I just try to keep getting the mileage in. And it's taken, I ended up slipping a disc in my back and getting laid up for like 2 months because I just couldn't run at all. because I did a huge effort and then thought, well, next week is also a big effort, so I just got to keep going. If you just got to listen, and if you do a big effort, take a big rest. Like it's better to take 2 extra days of rest of not running at all and let yourself recover than to try to push immediately and get yourself injured for a 2-month period. Because I would have lost 10 miles if I had waited 2 more days, and instead I lost 2 months. So
Yeah.
go slow, give yourself time, and ignore the clock. I ran a marathon Saturday at 12-minute miles because I was taking a lot of pictures and really enjoying it rather than trying to impress anybody.
I appreciate you doing this because we want to highlight some of the people that are doing the challenge, and you definitely stuck out when I saw your mileage. It's like, well, you blew way past the 39.3, so there's got to be something to this. So I appreciate you responding and being part of this for us. Well, cool. Well, thanks again, Kory. I really appreciate you taking the time.